Right, okay. This is the closing. I promised you we were short. And first of all, AIF, we try to improve this AIF functions. I mean, insurance authority has always been innovative, and we listen to the feedback. So this year, we have good topics, different speaker lineup, and a program. In particular, we changed the structures in the way that it finished after this lunch. So it gives you a half a day to go back to work. And also, therefore, we'd like you to give us feedback more so that we can improve for next year.
Well said, Stephen. I think those of you who are still here, I'm very grateful. And I am sure that the star-studded lineup with speakers and moderators did not disappoint you, and we'll try to do it even better next year. The 3 panels that we had this morning actually is very, very carefully arranged to make sure that you get issues of local and global relevance on the one hand, and also to have a forward perspective of certain issues, development which are worthy of our attention. But then we also together explore direction of change for Hong Kong, because we have to face many different kind of volatility, and how Hong Kong could actually adapt and prosper in those new environments is very important.
But Clement, you forgot to mention about the dialogue you just have, right, with your team. Okay, I think it's a good team coming up to describe what they're going to do, what's the visions, etc. But on the other hand, I remember this time last year when you're on the stage, you're probably the only directors, management directors with the team. So you shoulder all the work with all the MT executive directors for the whole year. And therefore, the board kindly agree a reasonable bonus, not excessive, and approved by the financial secretary. But this year, you have a full lineup now. I'm also sure that the board will not be so mean and cut your bonus by 1/3. So don't worry, okay? So now, I'm very interested to know that how you get these individuals in and the characters that you mentioned about the inside out, how you could get everybody to come up with these ideas and work out and deal with them.
Well, the script doesn't have this question. But anyway, as I said, I explained before, I was told to make sure that you guys will actually be very comfortable when we do this, because after all, having a panel like this is sometimes very formidable. But I can tell you that as I alluded to earlier, we were also testing. We were also trying to test to see how these guys have an open-mindedness, remember? Whether they are likely to embarrass themselves on stage, are they willing to? Are they be able to have a game on stage? Which I think proved to you from the way they pull it out in the end. We have a very open and cohesive team of staff in the IA. I think this is, as I said, it's good in terms of giving you more predictability and giving you more confidence about the way that we're going to engage with you. And turning to the outlook for 2025, Stephen, any tips?
Okay, for the outlook, I think I need to mention to you about our corporate plan. We almost complete our corporate plan. This actually started from September, where the management team got together for brainstorming. And that was then taken to a few town hall meetings for the whole organization. So everyone's get involved and raise their views and get improved. And then the plan went to consultation with HKFI, as well as the 2 advisory group. So it's come back again and then started with discussion with the board. And I must say that we will be finalizing the corporate plan tomorrow in the board meeting. And I think we have a further discussion. I think there will be some fine-tuning, but not a lot, because all the briefings that we have the board, we have discussed all the issues thoroughly. So let me give you a few highlights of what we want to do. RBC. And you will say, again? I think we've run so many years to get the RBC started this year. But as Clement already said, we know that day one there will be teething problems, there are issues coming up. So when this hit on the road, there are some issues that we need to deal with. And therefore, we decided we should not wait for any longer, but take it up and deal with it. So there will be an exercise to look at what are the issues that we need to change in the RBC to make it more user-friendly. And the second thing, recently you hear a lot of things about people have problems in getting insurance for mild mental conditions. And one of the big insurance companies CEO was complaining, right? so I think we need to look into it. We really want to be inclusive, to bring all these people under a protection. And therefore, we'll do a research report to make sure these people are covered as well. And finally, it's about medical insurance. I must first of all declare an interest here, because I have a medical insurance policies. My policy's insurance rate increased by 60% by one of the companies here. Okay, so it's my benefit to really look at the insurance policies in totality. But I think it's a big project because it's not only about insurance company, it's about the medical practitioners, the government, and the policyholders as well. So it's a big group. So next year's, what we're going to do is to plan a holistic review. So we have the steps-by-steps approach. We engage each and every one of you to see what is the end game. So in the meantime, if we come up with any quick wins, we'll deal with it as well.
Now, I think Stephen made a very good point. The point which I need to emphasize is that the decisions made by the insurance authority is not a decision made by the management team alone. We have a board. The board, as I explained earlier to my counterpart in Shenzhen, contains actually the majority of non-government people, and they come from all walks of life but insurance. In fact, out of the 13, only 2, I believe, are from the insurance sector. So we have many iterations, and we have a lot of different challenges and different sort of discussions about what we should be doing. Not purely from insurance angle, but from a community angle. So the stuff that Stephen just talked about, for example, in terms of, we have been doing this research report on people suffering from mild mental issues for a long time before that controversy came up. So we will be able to issue publicize that report very soon. It will cover some of the things that we have seen being debated on the internet and the rest. And we also discuss about medical insurance because we know that this is a problem which can't wait. It's about aging population. It's about the wellness of the community. So and the RBC regime, of course, about how we can actually do it better in terms of market development. But Stephen, you again deliberately miss out one point, which is catching most of the eyeball, which is the regulation of participating policies. Recently, there's a lot of this, again, speculations in different media about what we're doing. There are discussions, or there are suggestions that we're looking at benefits illustration, we're looking at remuneration structure of intermediary. We're also looking at premium rebates. A lot of people have doubts on the rationale. A lot of people have concern on repercussions. Stephen, can you tell me a bit more? Or you tell them a bit more?
Okay. First of all, let's go back to the purpose. What's the purpose of insurance authority? It's very clearly stated in the ordinance. Our purpose is to help the insurance industry have a sustainable development. So if we catch anything which are problems, I think we need to look into it and see how we're going to tackle the issues. So for that part policies, what I really want to tell you is why. Why we have concern and why we're looking into it. I think first of all, it's the aggressive way in which the non-guarantee returns are being protracted. I'm sure you know what happened. The second reason is there's a wave of fraud cases recently in the newspaper, court issues, involving extraction of upfront commissions through bogus policies. Third, the attrition rate of the intermediaries is very high. From our statistics, we have 16,000 licenses in the first year for intermediaries, but only 46% is left behind by now. So it's too high. Fourth, the numbers of those who left or switched principals rose from 14% in 2021 to 20% in 2022. Fifth, there's a rising numbers of orphan policies, which are really concerned that if they don't get proper service, it's detrimental to the policyholders. Last but not the least, is the rebates disguised as referral fees, which uncovered in our recent enforcement actions against a broker firm, which indicates a strong need for appropriate actions. So therefore, I really want you to understand why we come into it. As far as the when, obviously, is ASAP, because the issues are quite important and dangerous. And as to how, I really want all of us to work together, not just us coming with some regulations or policy, but really engage all of you to think what is practical to address the 6 issues I raised.
So I think Stephen is trying to tell you that some issues have been here for some time. As those of you in the industry will know, it was never properly addressed because the insurance authority didn't get set up until 2017. We never had enforcement power. We were never responsible for it. Now we are, and we believe that we should nip the bud and try to do something. And we talk about being visionary so we know where the market is heading. We want the market to be back on track for healthy and sustainable growth because everybody wants a long-term prosperity. So this is where we are. So given that we are way over time, so as I stressed during the dialogue just now, collaboration is 100% the key. So Stephen, I just want to perhaps end with a big thank you to the board for supporting us, because as you can see that many directors are actually here. They spend a lot of blood, sweat, and tears with us over the year on a lot of things. And that lead them to a couple of issues that we talked about also at the dialogue. We had a couple of very difficult cases, one involving a non-life insurer. That's when I talk about having the night and day shift. And the team at the general insurance division in the IA has been fundamental in resolving this in a manner which doesn't disrupt the market nor the society, because as you know, in that particular case, that might be a public transport implication. And there's another ongoing case with a life insurer where the team in the long-term insurance sector is now still working on, and these are very complicated issues, many of which will involve legal battles. So I wish to perhaps thank these teams for taking on these challenges, and for the enforcement team, they come from scratch, practically scratch. As I said, before 2017, there's nothing. So we started the licensing regime. Now we're moving into enforcement. As you can tell, nobody likes us. So that particular team have to come through a lot of resistance, a lot of distrust, and we have to build our own credibility. I also want to thank them for being able to persevere through this. So,
okay. Finally, for those who actually were here this time last year, you probably remember I asked Clement the questions, which he gave me a wrong answer. And this year, I probably asked him the same question. The question actually was, what are you going to do in the next couple of days, particularly the weekend, okay? And this time round, I'm not expecting him to answer, because I don't want him to give the wrong answer as well, and I'll answer it for him. The answer is very simple, because Clement and I were in South Africa, Cape Town in particular, over the last whole week.
Yeah.
And he was very busy preparing the meetings, the EXCO meetings, leading the committee meeting, and then the AGM and the annual conferences. And at the same time, he was actually working 20 hours back home and talking to the team preparing for this conference. So I think what he needs to do really is to take a good break, okay, and have some good sleep in the next couple of days on the weekend. So may I ask you to give a big round of applause for him and his team for the good job done this year.
And let's not forget those who actually come from afar, like Andy, Jack, and I know, Andy, you didn't have a good sleep last night. And I tell you, not being here 30 years and coming here just for us means a lot. And Jack, also the same for you, many years. So thanks a lot for those who actually make the way here. I guarantee that we're going to bring in more important regulators from overseas. And remember, in 2026, you're going to have every one of them. 200 jurisdictions, over 600 guests. So watch out for that. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.